Accusations that Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star blackmailed other YouTubers has resurfaced. Now, these allegations are old, but they were kind of swept under the rug. Nobody seemed to notice. And now that they are being dragged up again, people are shocked because at the time that these allegations came out, it was in the midst of dramageddon. And if you will remember, dramageddon, there was a lot of drama going on. That's why they called it dramageddon, clearly. But the stuff that was happening at the time was, among other things, about James Charles, about things he may have been doing, things he was accused of, about Tati Westbrook and her role in all of this, about potentially Jeffree and Shane manipulating the situation, manipulating Tati, about Shane Dawson's past content and how problematic it was. And when the conversation of Shane Dawson comes up, that is the thing that everybody focuses on. You know, rightfully so, was that he was called out for his past content. But in the midst of all of this, other things were happening. People were coming forward with other stories, like this one of Jeffree and Shane getting other YouTubers drunk, getting them in compromising positions or getting them to say things they wouldn't normally say, filming it, and then using that to then allegedly blackmail these creators so that if Shane and Jeffree do anything wrong, nobody's going to call them out for fear that the evidence that Shane and Jeffree have against them will be brought out as a sort of revenge, keeping everybody silent, essentially. Now, the clip that has resurfaced specifically is from Jaclyn Glenn's video that she did talking about this. Now, she would have been involved with a lot of different YouTubers, would have been close to different YouTubers, and would have heard a lot of stories, first-hand accounts of things that Jeffree and Shane allegedly did. Among these would be Blair White, who is a friend of Jaclyn, some other people like that. And this video, like I said, happened in the midst of dramageddon, and I completely missed it. Never saw it. Missed these allegations entirely, I think. I may have heard something, but there was just so much going on, and I think everybody else is kind of in the same boat. Like, even if you saw it, you might have kind of forgotten about this because of the fact that there was so much else going on. Like, that was a big deal at the time. So we are going to watch a little bit of Jaclyn Glenn's video that she posted. This is Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star use blackmail to silence the truth. So we're obviously not going to watch the whole video, just the relevant parts, because like I said, this happened during dramageddon 5 years ago. So a lot of this video is to do with Tati Westbrook and things that she had to say, but I just want to focus on the blackmail because this is, like I said, something that got swept under the rug. And if it is true, it's extremely serious. Now, with that in mind, I have to say, please do not sue me for this video because this video is an opinion piece. Everything in this video is based on opinion and speculation. Everything is alleged. Nothing is meant to be taken as fact, nor is it meant to defame any person, any group, or any company. Cool? Cool. Don't harass anybody either, guys. Covering all my bases today. Just don't sue me, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to watch this, couple of minutes of it. I do have to say one quick thing first. Sorry that my voice is weird. My tongue really hurts. Of all the things that could hurt, I don't know why it's my tongue. It's bothering me a lot, and it's hurting me when I talk. But I'm here, okay? I'm here for you guys. Anyway, let's watch a little bit of this.
I'm losing my mind.
So Shane Dawson is losing his mind. Self-admittedly.
Even process. I need a drink of water. I fucking can't process this. This is insane.
Why is this the clip we left in?
This is insane. This is insane. This woman is a fucking. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god is right. A lot has happened, and I'm going to pull clips from Shane's losing his mind Instagram stream. I'm going to pull clips from Blair's video. And
sorry, I just have to say, that was a really, like, you have to be there moment in history. Like, that live stream was, in Shane's own words, insane. If you don't remember what this live stream is from, you must have a very peaceful life. But this was when, Jesus, where do you even begin with this? Quickest, shortest version of this I can give you is that dramageddon Tati Westbrook came out and said James Charles bad, and everyone was like, yeah, James Charles bad. And then a while later, Tati Westbrook came out and said, actually, no, James Charles not that bad. Shane Dawson Jeffree Star bad. Shane Dawson Jeffree Star manipulate me into saying James Charles bad. And then Shane live reacted on Instagram, and we have this beautiful, beautiful video memorialized forever.
I'm going to pull clips from Tati's video. I have mixed feelings on Tati's video, but I still do feel like it's worth mentioning because she provides very important information that I do believe to be true about Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star using blackmail against other YouTubers. This is not the first time that I've heard this.
Because I have dirt on everyone, and they know to keep their mouths shut.
From my understanding,
that's something we gotta point out as well, is that Jeffree has said himself that he has dirt on everybody. Now, does that mean that he is the one going out and not fabricating necessarily, but setting up these instances, getting people drunk and getting them in these situations so that he can have dirt on everyone? No, it does not necessarily mean that, but it does mean that he admits himself to having dirt on everyone. So take from that what you will.
Of things, what they do is they allegedly will get people to drink a lot, or they will get them high or something, and once they are intoxicated enough, Jeffree or Shane will get them to say something that they probably would never have said otherwise, something wildly inappropriate. They film it, and then they hold this piece of information over that other YouTuber's head for God knows how long, so that whenever they actually are committing crimes, those people won't speak out against them because they're so afraid of this blackmail being released. I made my last video.
Can we take that in? I'm laughing because it's like insane behavior. They're acting like the mafia. This is literally YouTube. Calm down. But if you remember like how serious the beauty community stuff, and I'm lumping Shane in there because he did involve himself with those people, but how serious this stuff was, like it was, everyone was out for blood, and it, not that it's understandable, but it's a very different sort of atmosphere to what we have now, because now the beauty community is not as big, and then you have TikTok, and TikTok allows a lot more people to have eyes on them. There isn't really one central creator or group of creators who are kind of ruling the school, if you want to call it that. Nobody wanted to call it that. I don't know why I called it that, but you got all this different stuff. But at the time, this was a huge industry. The top influencers in the beauty space, they were making millions from brand deals. And that's just assuming they didn't have their own companies and their own other stuff like Jeffree Star did, who was making absolute bank, as we know. So this was some like company stuff. Like if you're thinking people who make a lot of money won't do whatever means necessary to keep that wealth, keep that fame, keep that power, then you are wrong, because that's how they get there in the first place. Not saying everybody, but a lot of these people did. So it's it sounds so insane that two YouTubers would allegedly blackmail people so that they could do whatever they wanted without repercussions. Sounds insane, but when this is a multi-million-dollar industry and these people are rich and powerful and they want to stay there and they want to keep all their opportunities and keep everybody else down, and they have skeletons in their closets, allegedly, and want to keep them firmly in those closets, they may, allegedly, can you tell I don't want to get in trouble here, allegedly, do what they need to do to make sure that they get away from everything scot-free.
On all of his accusations of sexual misconduct and sexualizing children. That, of course, really made me dislike him. And since that video, which was the other day, I have learned so much more dark information. It makes me feel so gross.
I'm fixing my posture, that's why I'm looking at myself.
Maybe that's the police coming for Shane. Anyway, like I was saying, it makes me feel gross to be on YouTube because there's so much going on behind the scenes, so much manipulation, so many lies that people are feeding their audience. Meanwhile, presenting themselves as heroes, as saviors, as people that are just so amazing, and they get all of these young people to support them and fans, and they get sponsorships from these big companies, and they just live this life of luxury while behind the scenes they're doing terrible shit and set it up so that no one can call them out for it. This weird blackmail situation with all these upper echelon YouTubers makes me feel sick to my stomach, because so much stuff is going unreported and so many people are committing crimes and just getting away with it. But I do think shit's about to hit the fan because so much is coming out.
So let's just briefly look at what she's saying. It's not just that the allegation is being made here that they are blackmailing people. There has to be a reason that they're blackmailing people, and she's alleging it's because they are committing actual crimes. Now, we know this already. We know specifically Jeffree Star has been accused of a lot of horrific behavior. And now it would seem that both of them have been suspected by their peers. I'm not saying they're being suspected by the police of anything or by a court of law. Jesus, I have to be so careful in this video. But are allegedly, potentially doing crimes. Be gay, do crimes, you know? That's a meme. Nobody get mad at me for that one. And then on top of that are blackmailing people, which in some places is a crime of its own right, just so that they can get away with this without getting in trouble, without any backlash, and while keeping their public personas intact. Now, as we know, those personas crumbled, but these are things that people kind of forget, and it makes it easier to kind of forgive them. Like, even, now I'm not saying I ever forgave Shane Dawson. I don't think I'm the person to forgive him for the things he's done, but I've looked and gone, oh yeah, I guess he wasn't that bad. Like, he was pretty bad. But then you look at the stuff again and you're like, oh, okay, it was kind of bad. Like, you forget how terrible some of this stuff was. And if stuff like this, the actual criminal behavior allegedly, gets swept under the rug, it's easier to forgive and just be like, oh, well, he's not doing anything now, you know?
I think at some point, either Shane or Jeffree Star is just gonna let loose all this information that they have, and I'm worried, honestly. I feel bad for the people that they're going to expose for different things. Obviously there's a limit, right? Some things, if they expose people for doing crimes, unacceptable, you know, that's gonna have to play out how it does. But if they expose them for something that clearly they didn't mean to say because they got them drunk or messed up in some way, and then they were baited into saying something that was filmed and used as blackmail, I hope that we can not go out of our way to cancel these people or put them through hell. And honestly, my advice to these people is to, you know, whatever it is, just come out with it on your own. You know, no one can have blackmail over you if you release that information yourself and take power into your own hands. And I know that's difficult, but if it were me, that's what I would do, because I would not let.
Kind of reminds me of Nikki Tutorials. I'm not saying that this situation has anything to do with Nikki Tutorials, by the way. It just reminds me of that, where she was being blackmailed with that information about her and just decided, you know what, not doing that. I am just going to make my own video. I am going to talk about it myself, and I'm going to reveal this private information myself. And it worked for her. But obviously that was one very specific kind of situation. With other people, you don't know what the stuff is. And like Jaclyn said, maybe it's that they've actually done something terrible, in which case, expose them, whatever. Maybe it's just something that was a mistake. Maybe it was just something that looks bad. And I think if all this stuff came out now, they would get cancelled for it. Like, we've become big fans of like cancelling people immediately, and I don't think that's a great thing to do. Personally, it depends on the situation. Obviously, it's case by case basis. It depends what the person does. Depends what all the facts are. Right? You got to look at everything individually. But we're quite a mob mentality on the internet now, so that is the way that it is.
Anybody pull strings on me like that. Like I said, I've heard a lot of things over the past couple of days. There aren't receipts that I can show you for a lot of these things. So again, my hope is those YouTubers that are holding back, do something about it, do something with the information that you have, and take the power back into your own hands. Like, I have even heard things about Eugenia Cooney, like how a while back Shane was messaging another YouTuber and sending photos of Eugenia at her absolute thinnest, and then joking about how he couldn't wait for the first YouTuber death. Now, this was a long time ago, but
It is alleged. There's no proof he actually did that. I wouldn't doubt it. He used to make a lot of jokes about Eugenia specifically, about everybody, but also about Eugenia, about her looking like this or that, and it was just horrible. And from what we've heard about Shane recently, with like even his friends and, you know, people who care about him, saying in the past that, oh, he's, you know, he's so mean, he's one of the cattiest people I know, he's so bitchy, he's always talking about somebody, he's always saying horrible stuff about people, wouldn't surprise me. I don't think personally, I don't think Shane feels much empathy for other people, especially if you look at the way, like, this is a bit of a tangent, but, you know, it's kind of hard to hear this and not talk about it. But the way that Shane handled Eugenia's comeback after she had gone to rehab, after all of that happened, he just made the video, pushed. She clearly wasn't ready for that level of attention. Got her to say things about her health, about her personal stuff, made kind of assumptions, put her back in the spotlight, and then just let what happened happen. I don't know if he's contacting her in the background to check if she's okay. I don't know how close they are. I don't know anything. Maybe he is trying to help, maybe he's not. But I do think that the video that he made with Eugenia when she got out of rehab was one of the reasons why she went straight back to her old ways. I really do blame him for that personally. Personal opinion, not fact.
To send pictures of her that make her look unhealthy and say, I can't wait for someone to die, that just goes to show you that there really is no care or concern for her. This is just an example, another of many examples of him going in and trying to get someone to be on his side so that he can build up an army of YouTubers that just think he's God's gift to the world. But like I showed in my last video, those clips of him making fun of her are pretty telling, you know? He doesn't care.
Someone commented in quotations on a picture, take the fucking picture, Becky, I can't breathe.
Well, you don't know struggle till you're taking that picture standing next to Eugenia fucking Cooney, bitch.
I don't know what that is or who that is.
That's my goal for like 2017, just skin and bones. If you want to do a YouTuber costume, this is you. Right.
Why? I don't get it. Because they're white. Shane.
You know it's bad when Gabbie Hanna is the one who's looking at you like you're terrible. Because as we know, Gabbie Hanna not the greatest, but even she's like, oh my god. Anyway, the point of all this part is just to show Shane's lack of empathy and caring for other people, and no matter what way he portrays himself online, there is still a chance that he allegedly could be involved in blackmailing other YouTubers to get away with his own alleged bad behavior. To anybody that's going to say, this is old news, why are you talking about it? I'm just going to very quickly sum up why. Like I said at the very beginning of this video, and I don't want to repeat myself too much, this was swept under the rug. And so it makes it easier for people to just forgive and let live, to let go, to think, he wasn't that bad, for the memory of everything to fade. But if this is true, that is really, really, really bad. And not just on Shane's part, on Jeffree's part too. But obviously he has a lot of big allegations that have come out about him in the past. And this is all happening at a time as well where Shane has recently been on Katie Morton's podcast. You guys remember Katie Morton? She was involved with the whole Eugenia thing. She is a therapist and she's been called out for some not great behavior. But on this podcast, they talked about Shane's cancellation, and he really didn't seem remorseful of the content he made. He did and then he didn't. He kind of seemed to flip-flop back and forth, because at one point he says, yeah, it was bad, but then at the same time he says the worst thing he ever did was make fun of celebrities. So it's like not about the kids that you said really inappropriate things about. And throughout all of this, there's no mention of anything to do with blackmailing or James Charles, who obviously don't like James Charles. He's done some bad stuff, but it's just to prove the point again that stuff like the whole blackmail accusations were swept under the rug entirely, and everybody's focused on what he has done in his content. Because if you go through the comments of Katie Morton's video, where, let's see, obviously she's probably, in my opinion, deleting negative comments, but you have one here. We can't ask people to change and then refuse to accept it when they do. If someone shows growth, empathy, and accountability over time, that deserves recognition. Redemption shouldn't be easy, but it should be possible. Otherwise, we send the message that people are only as good as the worst things they've done. And that's not justice. That's punishment without end. With that being said, I'll always have a special place in my heart for him. His past videos were funny for the times, much like many other creators. Okay, I agree, redemption needs to be possible, right? But when some of the biggest accusations were just kind of glossed over and not addressed, you have to wonder then, where's the redemption? Now, maybe there's no truth to these allegations at all, right? Maybe they never blackmailed anybody. But if they did, then where's the redemption? They didn't change. They didn't, speak out and be like, what I did was wrong. Both Shane and Jeffree. I'm focusing on Shane because Jeffree hasn't really addressed this stuff. He's just being Jeffree. He does a lot of lives and has yaks. So that's what he's doing. There was another comment that I saw here. Yeah. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I am talking about this topic now that it's being brought up again. Shane's cancellation was such an overreaction. He made some bad jokes that didn't age well. I'm 41 and remember being in my 20s when MySpace was around. There's plenty things I regret posting. I'm so thankful I wasn't born later to have more mistakes documented, only to be dragged up every couple of years to drag me through the mud. I'm not defending his old content. I didn't even know it existed, but I found Shane when he was at his prime of his career, and I think he was in his way to maturing and growing up. I really enjoy all of what Shane's content when he transitioned away from yellow thumbnails. It's so entertaining and can see his passion and his creativity. It's inspiring to watch. Okay, we're not going to talk about his new conspiracy theory videos and how they're not conspiracy theories, they're just tax write-offs, but okay. But here it is. Shane's cancellation was such an overreaction. He made some bad jokes that didn't age well, but that is not all he was accused of doing. That's just all anybody remembers. There's also the accusations that he and Jeffree Star got people drunk and made them say things they wouldn't normally say and held that as blackmail over their heads so that they could commit actual crimes and get away with it. Those are the allegations. Not just that he made some bad jokes, but this is all anyone could remember. And until this clip popped up, that's all I could remember too.
When did you get canceled? What year was that?
Which time?
I know. I don't know. One I was part of. Which one I wasn't part of.
Time? No, I got. You know what's interesting? Like, I've never talked about this. Like, it's weird to talk about because I'm not someone who's like bitter about being canceled.
I wouldn't say I'm bitter about it either. That's not the experience.
Right. Because you kind of have to like take it as kind of the same way that me getting fired and how all that went down and it affected other people. Because me getting canceled always affected the people around me. Like the most recent big one, like affected my husband, my, the closest people to me. And that was at such a different level. Cause like I'd been through it with the Jenny Craig thing. This was at such a different level where like, it really did feel like there was no way out of it, or there was no
it was
light.
Different. It was a whole different level.
It very much felt like people wanted me dead kind of thing. And
which is scary and terrible.
But
so you could absolutely argue that he felt that way. That doesn't make it true. Like, the average person did not want that. Obviously there's always going to be some crazy people on the internet that will send threats and things like that. It happens to the best of us, but they don't account for the majority of the population. But going back to what he said about it affected the people around him, very true. But I don't know personally how much he genuinely cares about that, or how much he just thinks, well, that'll make me sound better if I focus on that. Oh, well, it affected other people, so cancelling me was bad because it hurt everybody else. Now, maybe he really does feel that way, and I'm not giving him that much grace here. I'm kind of sick of giving people grace and then they turn out to not be great. I always try. I try my hardest. I try to, give people the benefit of the doubt. But, sometimes they just keep proving you wrong. And then again, these are such big accusations that are being made against him, but he's focusing on, oh, well, it affected my husband. And obviously that makes it bad. Not that I might have allegedly done something illegal.
Once again, I'm weirdly And I think it's because I was really deep. I'm still do therapy every week, but I was super deep into therapy at that moment. I started therapy, honestly, a month or two
I would
right
say
before.
not before. Yeah, not that much long
Right before, right when COVID started.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, you know what? I need to do therapy.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was definitely going down a dark road of not just workaholic, but also like body stuff, and like it was dark. And so I started therapy, and then I remember I was trying to explain to her like what I do and whatever, and then I got canceled, and having her was like such a godsend, such a universe orchestrated, because if I didn't have that, you know, because it was
Yeah.
already almost game over, but like
Yeah.
knowing what, yeah. So, but anyways, throughout that, it kind of was like, okay, this was supposed to happen. Obviously, I I still take accountability for all the shitty jokes I made and all the terrible videos and all of that. I've never been someone that's like, you know, like, you guys are overreacting. I think some people who wanted me dead were
Well, I was
overreacting.
gonna say there was some overreaction.
Definitely was some of that. I think it was.
I'm not saying people are overreacting, but there was definitely some overreaction. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is he's saying, yeah, he takes accountability for the terrible jokes that he made, the content that he made, right? And yeah, I do agree with a lot of commenters that at some point you do have to let people grow and change, right? But there are still the things like this. Did he and Jeffree manipulate Tati Westbrook? Did they hold evidence of things people had done over their heads? Are they holding on to evidence of potential alleged crimes that other people have done and decided not to release it, not to let those people be held accountable so that they could just use it for their own selfish reasons? Because on the one hand, you have maybe they've committed crimes, allegedly, right? But then you also have, well, maybe they know other people are committing crimes and don't care about helping the victims get justice. They just care about how can I use that? Again, all alleged, this might not even be true. It might just be rumors that people spread amongst themselves. But the allegations are still there, and if they are true, then he definitely didn't take accountability for that, did he? Now, I need to say something, and bear with me for 2 seconds. This is not a sponsor, by the way. I know as soon as I say one thing, I gotta say everyone thinks it's a sponsor. Not a sponsor. My book, Bound by Blood and Sea, is a fantasy novel. It is my debut, and it is coming out officially on November 16th. It's got mermaids, shapeshifters, fae, magic, court politics, gay stuff, Marley Grey characters, Irish mythology, all of that. You can read more about it on my website, evaalexandra.com. And if you go to my website, evaalexandra.com with a KS and not an X, because that is how you spell my name, then you can use code PREORDER10 to get 10% off the pre-order for my book. And you will also get free shipping because I am personally not playing for shipping out of pocket. And just bear with me for 1 second while I just finish up this spiel because it's really, really important to me. I know you guys don't like hearing it, but it's really, really important to me. There are a couple of reasons why you should pre-order the book. For one, because you will get the pre-order discount using code PREORDER10. I will also be paying the shipping, as I said. After that, I will not be paying the shipping once the book is released. But one of the big reasons is because it helps me a lot if you pre-order the book. The reason that I am focusing right now on pre-orders instead of just waiting till the book is released is because pre-orders count towards the first week of sales. I'm trying to be really transparent here with what my plans are. I want to give my book the best chance possible of being semi-successful, right? And the more orders that you have and the more sales that you have in the first week, the higher the ranking is that you get on different online shops, say Amazon, right? So it could be higher up in fantasy, in LGBT fantasy, or it could be higher up in different rankings. So the more sales that I get and the more pre-sales that I get, the higher up that ranking is, and the higher chance I have for more people to see it once the book is released so that it could potentially be a success. So the more pre-orders that I get, the happier I am. I have a very ambitious goal to get 1,000 pre-orders, and that is a lot. That's a lot. But there's like 100,000 of you guys, so if you could all just buy like 7 copies each, you know, one for you, one for your family and friends, and one for your dog, then, you know, that makes me a happy camper. So again, go to my website, use the code preorder10, you'll get free shipping, you'll get a discount, and 3 of the pre-order paperbacks will come signed. So like I said, I would sign every copy if I could, but I can't. So as a thank you for supporting me, 3 random pre-order copies will arrive signed. So 3 people will get a signed copy, even though they only ordered just the regular paperback. However, if you would like to guarantee that you get a signed copy, you can also order a signed copy with a bookmark. So that's me done with my spiel. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Link is in the description. Really helps me out. I'm trying to say this as fast as I can, but it's something I'm so passionate about. So thank you so much for listening to me. Anyway, let me know what you think about this whole situation. Kind of messed up, and it's so weird that this was the thing that got pushed under the rug. I guess it wasn't like, oh god, take a shot every time I say swept under the rug. I guess it wasn't like the big story at the time, but even though it is old now, it's being brought up again. I think it's important to address. Whether it's true or not, I cannot attest to that. But if you don't want to leave me a comment about that, then leave me a comment. Let me know what time it is exactly for you right now. For me, what time is it? Oh, Jesus. It is 1 minute to 3 in the afternoon. I am recording really late today. Whoopsie. Like, comment, share, follow me on social media. I'm VangelinaSkov everywhere. Check out my website, as I said. Subscribe. That's so important. Helps me out a lot. And have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.